I think I speak for everybody when I say this. They're not ready for tonight's game. I'm telling you right now. Y'all wanted it, but I told you they're not ready. Lucario, as a man who has dealt with a lot of beautiful women, the hard of the world,
right?
What's the first thing that you would tell a guy? I've never fucked a 10. What's the first thing I should know about 10s? What's the world of 10s like?
I mean, the first thing I'll say is just you got to understand that, 10s ain't really shit. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, like, you got to have that sort of mentality when you're approaching the chick. You got to approach that woman like you would approach any other woman. You feel what I'm saying? And I try to get guys to understand this. When they see women who they think are 10s, or they see a chick, they're like, oh, she's a dime. What they'll do is they'll say, what can I do differently to get her? The thing is, you got to flip that around and say, how can I be consistent with just talking to women, period? And also another thing too is that, and this is really important, make sure that you're keeping it extremely real with her. So for example, you got to understand, you got to look at it from the perspective of a hot girl. 90% of the guys that approach hot women or talk to hot women, what they're doing is they're thinking about what they think she wants to hear. They're thinking about what should I say to her to make her like me, all this other stuff. What you want to do, and what makes you stand out, is you got to keep it extremely real with her. So you got to be realistic to the point where even if what you're saying to her may even offend her or, make her look at you funny. So for example, let's say you met a famous person like Drake or something. You met Drake or whatever, right? Everybody's sucking Drake's dick, right? They're like, oh, Drake, you're the best. You're awesome. Oh my God. Now imagine you spoke to Drake for like 5 minutes and you say, yo, Drake, I like your music, but I'm going to tell you that last album, this cut sucked. That cut wasn't that good. That shit was kind of whack. I wasn't really feeling it. And I think if you do this more, this will up your music. Now, you're probably the only person that told him that all year. You understand what I'm saying? So now he's going to remember you versus everybody else that's been talking to him. So it's the same thing with hot chicks. They'll remember you more based off of how you came at them on some real shit. You see what I'm saying? And that makes you stand out and separates you from the other guys. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Solo, what's your take on 10s? Listen, there are a lot of beautiful women in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think Minneapolis is probably one of the most underrated cities in terms of hot bitches per capita. So if somebody wants to move out to Minneapolis, Minnesota, because they've heard about this underground secret that there are a lot of hot girls up in the Polis. What are you telling them to look out for? What are you telling them to how do you lay the groundwork? Where should I start?
All right. Shout out to you, Donovan. Thank you for having me back on. Sure. So the first thing we got to establish, and I think Kevin and Jap will agree with me on this, is you got to be in the right venue if you want to meet the hottest chicks. I may add a little bit of different element here because, as some of you guys may or may not know, I also do photography and videography, like in real life. So I've done a lot of fashion events. So I'm around these hot models all the time. I really see what they look. Listen, Donovan, you said it yourself. She's a 10 when you bunker bust her, but when you wake up, she's a 5. You feel me?
God, hell yeah.
You said it yourself, bro.
Yeah.
So, being in the fashion industry, taking pictures and all of that, you deal with these women, and guess what? A lot of them are really insecure. Okay, a lot of them are really insecure. Yeah, they have the bitch fit.
Most of them are insecure.
The bitch shield on, but a lot of them. And Donovan, I got to go old school on this. Can I go old school, Donovan?
You can. Let's do it. Don't be afraid. You got it.
2 things, man. Push and pull works great with these women.
That's right.
Like, you can't be, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so gorgeous. Act like you've been there before, like Kevin said, like Lucario said, being indifferent as well. See, a lot of you guys may be familiar with my sim tales. And you know what? The reason why a lot of guys mess up and why I've messed up a lot in the past is because you start putting these women on a pedestal thinking they're these goddesses, or in the 40-year-old virgin, right? Steve Carell called them Pussalaya. And that's where most guys mess up. And so when you're dealing with a 10, a dime, a 9, number one, you got to be indifferent. And number 2, I hate to say this, but this is the truth. You can't fuck up your game. Like, your game sometimes got to be spot on. You feel me? That's why I say be indifferent, because when you're indifferent, you don't really care about the outcome. But then when you're indifferent, you really don't, you're just in a certain frame of mind where you really don't care. And when girls pick up on the vibe, then it's all good. I was just telling Lucario off camera right now, like, I'm kind of going through a hot streak right now. And I was telling Lucario, the reason why I'm going through this hot streak is because my balls are getting drained nightly. But secondly, is kind of like, you're not thirsty. And where a lot of guys fail, Donovan, When they're dealing with a woman they really like, they put her on that pedestal, they become thirsty, and next thing you know, you remember Lakari, we spoke about this a month ago.
Right.
You triple texting a bitch and you're already lost.
Right, exactly. No, that's facts.
Good, well said. I'm gonna come to Jap next. Now let me ask you something here, Jap, because again, I think we established last week that you just recently started dating white women. What's it like? What's the difference between a black 10 and a white 10? What are some differences that, because listen, I fucked plenty of white girl 10s, I fucked plenty of Latina 10s, I've never fucked a black 10. So give us some insight.
All right, so like your average black 10 is broke. You know what I'm saying? So like off top.
Damn, all right, right
John
to
DeMarco.
Off top.
God damn.
You know, if you a motherfucker with your shit together, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna win regardless. You know what I mean? See, like I said, I'm not really, seasoned in the white bitch game like that. So, you know what I'm saying? I will say this, white bitches are a lot nicer and they tend to have their shit together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, minimal shit to where they could even survive, but a lot of the black dimes are really struggling. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to make it to Friday. And a lot of guys get intimidated by,
yes,
the Facebook and the Instagram and shit like that. I'm just gonna tell you, if you don't shoot your shot, you will never score.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, talk to these bitches because realistically, they not shit. It's bitches right now that I know with 250,000 subscribers and they don't got $250. You know what I'm saying? But they look like $1 million when you take a picture. You got to understand these bitches are stupid. They're broke, and you can get one if you assert yourself the right way. But like any how can I say any animal, they can smell blood. So if you coming at her, oh man, you the best thing I ever had. She gonna if you a sucker, she gonna hit a lick. So you got to understand, don't show weakness. Definitely stop over complimenting them because she's hearing that shit all day. You got to do something that's going to separate you from the pack, But I will say this, it's an adventure dealing with black dimes. It's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? They carry themselves like they're on this level, but they're really not shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be surprised. You'll be like, you'll be surprised, like, damn, I thought that this woman was this type of woman. Then you actually get in the driver's seat of fucking with this bitch and realizing that she is nothing like she portrays herself, and she's actually easy. And the only reason why people think that she's hard to talk to because she's that fucking fine, and it's intimidating to weak niggas. Just holler at that bitch.
Yeah,
the worst a bitch could ever say to you is no.
What I'm gonna say, at least to start this thing up, because you guys this is gonna be a lot of knowledge coming at you guys very, very quickly. And it's very, very easy to become overwhelmed because we're talking, it's almost like 10s are a different species. And I cannot stress that point enough. It's dealing with them is just a whole another level. So there are three things that you guys need to understand before we get started here. Number one, there are no guarantees, gentlemen. Okay. You guys can do everything we tell you today to the T. And not so much as sniff the pussy of a stripper, not so much as sniff the pussy of an IT model, okay? And I'm telling you right now, luck is as much a factor as anything as far as men being successful with strippers, 10s, et cetera, et cetera. Guys, those guys will tell you exactly the same thing. All we can do tonight is to help you to increase your odds of success. Number two, and we said this last week, this is next level game, guys. You cannot be a novice with women and just waltz into a strip club, slide into Instagram models DM, and just start picking out bitches to fuck. Unless you are a professional athlete, there is no point and click game involved here. You're not swiping for 10s on Tinder because 10s are not on Tinder. They're on seeking arrangements, and Myron can tell you about that. You've got to work for it, guys, and that involves obviously being red pill aware and having plenty of years of successful game under your belt. Number three, and this is the most important. I know every one of you guys will co-sign on this. This shit ain't for the faint of heart, okay? This is not for the. Listen, you can't be a weak nigga and be going after 10s, y'all, because this is the big leagues. This ain't AAA Scranton. This isn't bobblehead night at the Carolina Mudheads. No. Like Bazaar said in Pimp Like Me, he said, this is some straight G shit. Guys, this is going to involve some serious shit. So if you're the kind of guy who still catches feelings for hot girls, this shit is not going to be for you. This shit is not going to be for you.
No simping.
And here's the thing. Now, here's the thing. No simping. And I'm not going to judge guys for that, right? We've all been there, myself included.
Yeah.
I have caught feelings for plenty of strippers that I've been fucking or dated. I've been cheated on by a shitload of pretty girls. So I get it. It's not going to be easy to learn to divorce your feelings from pretty girls. But when, and only when, you can stop catching feelings for these hot girls, can you utilize what we are going to tell you guys tonight to take full advantage. The last thing I want to say here, and this is actually somebody something said in the chat, he got scammed by like a cam girl. Here's the fourth thing I'll tell you. I guess I'll just add this on. Most 8s, 9s, and 10s on the internet, they're monetized. There's not an 8, a 9, or 10 who is not making money off the way she looks. She's an Instagram model. She's a cam girl. She's on speaking arrangements. She's she does porn. She has an OnlyFans account. So any guy who says, "Man, I fuck 9s and 10s all over the place," you've just outed yourself as a John, because you can't fuck 9s and 10s unless you're paying fucking bitches. Nobody is ever fucking 5 10s at once unless he's paying them all, because all 10s are monetized. All of that said, this is gonna be a great podcast tonight. I can already feel it. We've already got 800 people watching. Shout out to King Life with the $5 super chat. Very good question he asks here. He says, "Do you hit the 10s with a logical conversation or more emotionally charged questions or statements?" Very good question, Kevin. I'm going to come to you first. What would be your answer to that? He said,
I'm not Mr. Spock when I'm dealing with women. Because I'm that logic shit. You want to win arguments, and y'all need to put all that feminist, put all that shit to bed, man. First off, the dude that said he got hustled by a bitch. Welcome to the world.
Right.
Of hot bitches.
Right.
Go to the show last night where I had a sugar baby on there and listen to how they talk. Let me tell you how I got my way in. Because I was once a mere mortal like you. I was on Krypton, just like the rest of the Kryptonians. But what did I decide to do? I decided to do something that I saw my counterpart do. I bought my way in. I went to a company Christmas party and I spent $1,300 to take one of the hottest escorts in Dallas as my plus one. Understand something. Automatically, there are dudes that'll be like, "Oh, no one fuck us, spend that kind of money." Because you are a child, my man. You're a fucking child. I was buying access that a nigga can't get. Can I tell you? I was buying access that a Negro can't get. So when I show up to the company Christmas party at the Texas Oil Club with Debbie of Dallas, we'll just say that's her name, and everybody's head turns like this because we come in the room. What do you think? When I'm down here with all the other account executives and all the other peons and the VPs and everybody over there, what happens? Everybody's looking and saying, "Who's that tall blonde? Wow." I go to the executive washroom, and if you don't know what that is, it's because, again, you're not in this world. The executives have their own bathroom. They don't piss with you. Their piss is better than yours. Did you know that? The executive washroom is open on holiday parties. So I go to the executive washroom, and as I'm going in, the VP of marketing is coming out. How do I know the VP of marketing? Because his name is he's one of the people in the ivory tower. And he says, as I'm going into the urinal, "That Debbie's a class act." That's all he said to me. This old snow-haired white guy said this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she really is. 3 weeks later, I'm being asked by his executive assistant to come upstairs to his office. Wow. I'm like, am I about to be fired or something? Because this is the best firing I ever had. Turns out that he was a regular of Debbie's.
There you go.
And he and I had the most involving 15 minutes. From that point on, I started getting some of the best leads that I have ever gotten in the company, started getting assignments, started getting choice things started happening in my career. Opportunities started that I had applied for that normally wouldn't opened up. And that little event opened an entire professional realm that I would never have been able to go into, because the VP asked himself one question: must be the mindset of an account executive who is several levels down, who's going to bring this experienced girl? He either must have some common sense, he must have some whatever. He knew that I knew something that he knew. He actually became a mentor of me. We'll talk about that more later. Guys, this is how the game is played at the corporate level. If you don't think that these guys running these companies don't have their escorts, call girls, sugar babies, mentees on the company payroll, then you're a fucking child.
Probably just end the show right motherfucking there. Be honest with you, Kevin just fucked it up for everybody right there. Holy shit!
And that's real shit though, man.
But hey, Kev, did you for 1,300? Did you get the pussy though?
Oh yeah, but that.
Okay.
And here's the beautiful thing about it with this level: there's strip club game, there's escort game, and 10 game. But when you're a fly dude, I had these women say, "Why are you paying for this? I would fuck you off the rip. I pay you to leave, and I pay for access to your guys."
There you go. And I would even go so far as to say this, Kevin. The reason you hired the escort had nothing to do with sex. It had to do with status and access. Because everybody, men and women, respect men who are good with hot girls. That's if you're good with hot girls, then you've got to be good at other things. Answer this question: do you hit the 10s with logical confrontation, or emotionally charged questions or statements?
Yeah, man. So a little bit on me, guys. I'm in Miami, man. So I'm like around the hottest girls in the fucking world, man, pretty much. And the thing is that I always go off depending on the girl, right? So if it's a younger girl in her early 20s, you got to stimulate the emotions, man. And in general, you got to stimulate the emotions. But the older she is, the more life experience, the little bit more I could say you could speak to different topics. But in general, you're always keeping the conversations emotionally charged to some degree where you're spiking her emotions. Because at the end of the day, guys, girls just want to have fun. And a big part of having fun is feeling fun. And that's got to come from you. Because here's the reality. If you're on a date with a girl and she's having a bad time, she could be a dud. She could be the reason the date sucks. She could not be able to have a good conversation. She could have limited life experience. She could be boring as fuck. But she's going to look at you and say you're boring if she's not having fun. She's not going to look back and say, oh, it's me. I probably suck. No, that just goes into their innate solipsism. So that's just not the way it works. So you have to be the fun guy. And how would you do that? You got to have experience. You got to lead the conversation. You got to be a masculine male, etc. So I would say the older she is, the more you could touch to like other life experiences and stuff like that. The younger she is, on general, you're going to want to keep it to her level of where she is. And unfortunately, the hottest girls are in their early 20s. So you got to have like a certain amount of conversation at that level. And the other thing too, you skipped me, Donovan, but now I was going to say earlier, real quick, the three things that guys got to understand when you deal with like the hottest girls. And when I say the hottest girls, I'm talking about your models, your bartenders that are, that basically got hired for the way they look. Any girl that makes money off of that monetizes the way she looks, there's some three things you guys got to understand. Number one, you can't let her think that she's better than you. Just like Lucario was saying, you can't pedestalize her because she's immediately going to think, okay, this guy is scared to lose me. Therefore, he is low value and I am higher value. And then boom, you're done, off rip. And then number two and number three, which a lot of guys can't part with, which a lot of people won't admit, is you got to understand she belongs to the fucking streets. And you're not going to be able to retain her, probably, more than likely. Because the hottest girls, right, are getting the top athletes, fucking millionaires, etc., hitting on them all day. And no matter how much game you have, at some point you have to be willing to lose her because that's inherently going to make you more attractive because you're not going to be dependent on the outcome of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And she's going to respect you more for it. So when these simps fuck up, which they will, because these rich guys and celebrities are simps because they always lead with their wallet, just like Kevin was talking about earlier. They have nothing else to bring to the table except for like, look at my clout or look at my money or all this other shit. That when they fuck up, then she'll come back to you. But you got to be content with the fact that there's going to go months where she won't talk to you or she'll forget about you. Or you might lose her altogether. But you not giving a fuck is going to make you more attractive. And that comes from that mindset that she belongs to the streets and you have to accept that. And another thing too, Lucari talked about this too. When you're out with your hot ass girl, dudes are going to hit on her. So you can't be on some fucking beta male shit getting mad. So what the fuck, and willing to fight everybody because you're going to be in fist fights all fucking day because people will always hit on your girl when she's hot. And sometimes right in front of you if she's bad enough. So that's another thing that comes with the territory that a lot of guys are not willing to accept. So that's my little take on it.
Right.
Listen, Myron, you're spot on. Listen, there's a price for everything. Okay. If you want to look like Myron, the price is you got to drink 3 gallons of water a day and you got to live in the gym. That's the price you got to pay. If you want to be a content creator like us, the price you pay is you're never going to be able to have a W-2 paying job in the United States for the rest of your life. That's the price you got to pay. If you want to date hot girls, if you want to fuck hot girls, if you want hot girls on your arm, dudes are going to try to get at her. And if you're that dude who's always getting mad at dudes sitting on your girl, this is not going to be for you.